99.7 DJX, the Ben Davis and Kelly K Show podcast.
Supplying every demand.
On demand.
So we've all had those dates, right? Those dates that are just a little bit embarrassing, or maybe you're at the near beginning of a new relationship and you're still trying to learn a bit about each other. So each time you see each other, you're learning just a little bit more, and you're gently dipping your toe into the ocean of that other person's full, complete personality, and you don't ever really want to dive in right at the very beginning.
Well, some things you want to hold back for a little later when you're more secure in the relationship.
Yeah.
You don't show all your cards at the beginning, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're learning about that person. That person's learning a little bit about you. You don't show them all your crazy up front. You let them learn to love you, and then, they will accept you and you're crazy because everybody's got it, and they're like, you know what? I can deal with that. That's fine. I know enough about you as a person that doesn't bother me. So that being said, those moments when you kind of like dive into the pool a little bit early are the fun calls that I want to hear. Is, those embarrassing date stories that you had. Maybe it wasn't a first date, but maybe it was early on in the relationship. Go ahead.
I recently went out to dinner with my boyfriend, and we brought the dog along because it was one of those you can bring your dog and they can sit outside restaurants.
Love it.
But thank God we brought the dog.
Okay, why? Go ahead. Why?
I guess whatever I ate ended up farting, thankfully silently, but quite smelly in the car ride back from the restaurant to my apartment.
Wow. Kudos to you for owning that. Kudos to you for owning that.
Silent but violent.
Yeah.
And he looked over at me, and I looked over at him, and then I just looked back at his dog, and he was like, of course it was him. And I was like, yeah, silly dog.
Oh, wow. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, puppy toots.
Oh, my gosh.
Puppy toots are bad.
Eventually, I guess I should let my boyfriend know that I fart.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully the dog's just with us forever.
Well, I don't think that's going to be the case. But, that can be embarrassing, especially when you're early on into a relationship.
Yeah, you're trying to keep some sort of like mystery. You're still trying to keep some of the ugly, to yourself.
Well, the awkward noises and smells that come from every human being.
Right.
You want to at least mask them a little bit more before,
You try to protect your partner from some of that.
Yeah, sure. And then, once you get to be, in a relationship for a long time, then those sort of masks come off, and, you're comfortable around your partner and they around you. But
we're about 14 years into the marriage, and I think we're still we're just getting to that part.
You know what? Everybody's timetable is different.
Sure.
Like, for my wife and I mean, we were dating, and I remember I told it on the show before, but I wet the bed, and she was in the bed, and I was a grown. Oh my God. I mean, I was a grown adult, and that happened, and I was so embarrassed, and I'm like, no, and we had maybe been like only dating for a few months at that point, and I'm like, there's no way. I mean,
you were trying to figure out, like, how are you going to change her so she doesn't realize what happened? And that didn't work out, did it? Yeah,
I was going through all the scenarios in my head, like, okay, how am I going to get the sheets off the bed, change her sweatpants, put sheets back on the bed while she's still asleep? And,
that wasn't going to happen.
And in my state, I was thinking, I can do it. And then, but then as I'm like patting to see what the damage was, she woke up, and I had to make that awkward first sentence of, I think I wet the bed.
What was her reaction? I mean, I'm sure she
she laughed.
responded with sensitivity and kindness.
Well,
I mean, she still married you.
yeah, she did still marry me. That's right. She laughed, I believe. I think that was her first reaction was laughter.
I would have immediately went and bought you adult diapers.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
That would have been my reaction.
I have them to this day in my office. So, anyways.
Yeah, that's great.
Got a text from a listener. At the beginning of mine and my fiance's relationship, we worked in a warehouse working 12-hour shifts. Well, I ate only mints all day. So when we got off, we got some beers. I drank like 2 drinks and threw up all over his car.
Oh, my gosh.
10 years later, he's still here.
Oh, wow. That could have been disastrous. I mean, it was a little disastrous, but thank goodness it didn't end the relationship.
Yeah, right. Oh, my gosh. I mean, there was nothing worse than doing that in front of someone new.
Well, listen, I will tell you this. About a week before we were to get married, well, it was a couple of weeks before, but a week apart, both my husband and I ended up getting like violently sick. Like I was in the shower and like everything was exploding out of everywhere. And that was like the last thing. I did not want him to see me like that. He ended up having to drive me to the ER.
Oh, geez.
And then like a week later, same thing happened to him.
Well, like if you can survive that,
we saw all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say then that can help, dealing with anything that comes up in a long relationship. So.
Oh yeah, that was the most vulnerable I think we'd ever been. Like when things are exploding everywhere, and you're naked. That is just. I mean,
you can't help
are
it.
at their mercy.
Right.
Like, this is me. This is all the warts. All at once.
Got another text from a listener, Amanda, who said, my husband and I have been together for over 13 years, and I still don't fart in front of him or my kids.
I mean, but same. I try not to. I go do that in private. But they don't care. They just let it rip right in front of me, and then they laugh.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I get blamed for every smell in our house anyways, so it doesn't matter
you're
if
the
I
only
do
boy.
or not.